Happy Saturday, everyone. Glad that we are here in Satsang. Um, so Shivangi is off today. So in terms of, I think instead of overview, I'll get into something that um, I'll just blame it on Natalie, that she got me started on chapter 11 of the 28 chapter 7 volume book from Guru Maharaj, his spiritual life experiences. So there he's touching upon, you know, is it necessary to, you know, completely devote your life to a monastery, or as in India, people would go to ashrams or to the Himalayas, or here, devote their lives to the church. Um, so, what about people who are worldly? Um, so, he kind of takes that head on in this chapter. And by the way, March 3rd is my mother's birthday, so was remembering her. There was a satsang meditation session at my home in Jaipur, 200 miles west of Delhi. Um, uh, so I was just remembering her primarily, how simple she was. I mean, call it a simpleton. So simple that it's like, by today's standards, it's like, just it's hard to believe that people can be that simple. Um, but that's for another day. So today, the inner meaning of detachment, spirituality for the modern life. So there is a quite a persistent belief across the world. I mean, across countries, cultures, religions, that real vertical growth, spiritual practice, um, being, you know, very good human being isn't possible when you're living in a normal, busy life. So we feel that work is too demanding, responsibilities are endless, our relationships are complicated. And because our minds are always occupied, we postpone our inner life, or inner growth, or vertical growth, however you want to see that. So we wait for a future moment when things would finally calm down, when we will finally have the time to meditate, to pray, to go deeper. So Guru Maharaj calls this a serious misunderstanding, because family and professional life, um, you know, um, they aren't the real obstacle. The real obstacle is, he says, attachment, the internal grip of I and mine. So, call it worldly, call it materialistic. Um, so, Guru Maharaj says that a person is not, and I'm just using this very loosely in terms of materialistic, worldly, a householder, a family person, uh, a devoted professional, Um, so a person is not materialistic simply because they have a home or a spouse or a career. One becomes materialist when the mind is wrapped in possessiveness. So I think that's the distinction that we need to make. when we say this is mine, this must go my way, my image, my control, my comfort. So that's all me, me, me. So by this definition, someone could leave the society and be in a monastery or church or a cave and still be materialistic, in the sense they could still be bound by their ego, their identity, their cravings. So external solitude does not automatically create inner freedom. So what is true detachment is uh, basically the release of the inner grip. And again, so then there is a flip side, to it, where releasing the inner grip doesn't mean neglecting your responsibilities. It means fulfilling them without being owned by them. It means you can still care, but you can stop, clinging. You can still act, but you can stop demanding specific results. And um, you still love, but you stop trying to possess the other person, or possess anything for that matter. In this light, detachment is not coldness or indifference, it's maturity. It's a state of being available to those in the thick of life. So here, I think last time also I quoted Kabir Das, one of Sant Mat's sages. He wrote, poetry, very, very beautiful. So he says only love and true devotion are needed to reach the divine. External appearances are not essential. One can attain the goal at home or in the forest or a monastery. So this is a liberating truth. Spiritual life is not reserved for those who necessarily have to withdraw from the world. So life can be a training ground. And, you know, um, so if wherever you are, if you act responsibility without ego, you love without being too possessive, you serve without needing, the appreciation or applause, keep your heart anchored while life pulls you in every direction. So when these qualities appear, a busy professional or parent becomes inwardly closer to the person who has renunciated everything. So, so you don't need a new life. You just need a new direction. So in this chapter, then very quickly, Guru Maharaj goes to, so he says like, uh, he was always for being busy. He says like the more you leave your mind, or if you are not busy, your mind goes to work, kind of thing. And so he says, okay, so for busy people, and even if you get so busy that your regular practice becomes an issue, because we have discussed, like, we're creatures of habit, and if we have a space and time, and that space and time becomes sacred in the sense of, you get in that meditation mode in that space and in that particular time that you have chosen. But then what if, that's harder with the schedule you have. So then he says that there are 4 windows of practice, a path for busy people. So I can't meditate. I have to concentrate on, my job, my duties, or whatever. So he says you should do your work or duties with full attention. However, he suggests using the small windows that are already built into your day as spiritual doorways. So, mindful meals. So, before eating, pause, receive the meal as a gift, whether you offer it as prasad, as or simply practice deep gratitude. The goal is the same: eat in remembrance, not in mental noise. The mind you carry into your evening meditation is the same mind you have trained all day. So bring that to the table. So here he is saying that um, you know uh, so basically try to utilize your time. Uh, you know. Uh, Try to utilize the time that when you are having food, and we discussed this before, that you know our meditation practice is more like what you think you become, and your if you you know um, embody, manifest this transcendental energy is positive and uplifting, you will charge up yourself with that energy. So, John, can I help you? Okay. Yuan, I think you can take care of this, right? Um, so so basically, what you eat, you become as well. These days, and myself included, while we're eating, there's so much going on. If nothing else, it's TV, and believe me, every religious place, every meditation, there is something to do with food there, and there is a reason. When you consume the food, it stays with you for far longer than your meditation, at least for the people who are starting. And for, you know, most of the time, food is in the system for 24 to however many hours. So if every time you eat something, you do the same thing that you do during this meditation, that you think that it is charged with this amazingly unfathomable transcendental energy, you are consuming that. So you're getting charged up with that, and that stays in the system. So while it stays in the system, you stay uplifted. So that's the window number one. We have to eat to live. Uh, so utilize that time to stay connected and be, and consume this energy. Um, then the gateway of sleep. Sleep is more than just physical rest, it's a doorway to the subconscious. Instead of ending the day with stress or digital distraction, practice, making this sleep your meditative state. Um, so, like a child resting in a mother's lap, release the day's events, hand over the results of your work, let your heart, and just uh, lie down and think that you're surrounded by this transcendental light, and you're slowly, uh, you know, uh, just getting into your sleep in that state. And if you do that right, your entire sleep becomes a lightweight meditation session. And you do that right, your sleep gets better, which is, I mean, so many people come with sleep issues. So your sleep gets better, your practice gets deeper. Um, so both, uh, so when you're eating, when you're sleeping, if you uh, crank that dial up, your practice gets really deep. Third is walking in presence. So turn your morning commute or walk to the store, or just if you do walking anytime, um, walk with this higher presence, a companion, a protector, a friend, however you want to look at it, whether you speak inwardly or walk in silence. This makes your mind move from racing to resting. And, this one, my aunts told me that and this I had heard before too, but there was a full description of how my grandfather used to walk a couple of miles every morning, would come back, then he will start writing under a tree in the compound he had, uh, and then it's after it's so he when he was walking, he would get inspired by talking to his guru. So he would walk with his guru, uh, and then that inspiration he would put it on paper, and that's how he wrote so prolifically and so inspirational writings. And and then he would go in the house and talk about the homework with the kids, and take care of other things. And that's how he also, the same satsang, you know when you imagine, kids getting exposed to your anger versus your other states. And I can describe some really, uh, unfortunately, there are so many stories I know that uh, parents get into these uh, states, and then the kids have to deal with that. Instead, here, he is super inspired. He has done his job, or what he thinks his duty is, and he has written about the process, about what inspires him and all that, and then he interacts with kids. That impact I have seen in my life, phenomenal, completely and totally transformative impact. And the last one, the four windows, is when there are idle time, when you don't have anything else to do. So we often have those times in between things. And if you can convert that into just, when you're waiting, when you're sitting, just turn inwards. I am the light, I am sheltered, and I am in the presence of this transcendental energy, like we will now practice. So eyes lightly closed, sit in relaxed and completely still posture. So, we want to focus and concentrate. So inward, sensory input through the eyes. So eyes lightly closed. Every time body moves, mind moves with it. So still body, and relaxed, because every time there is strain anywhere, attention goes there. So we want to have still and relaxed posture, eyes lightly closed, and then feel the presence and feel this conscious source of this transcendental energy in form of light right here, right now, in front of you. And that light is coming into your heart and distributing throughout your body, and you're becoming one with this light. Mind wanders away, which it will, it's natural. When you realize your mind has wandered away, just bring it back to this thought and this thought alone. That transcendental energy in form of light is entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you are getting completely and totally immersed in that light. And you can do breath work and other things before or after. Right now, this is just doing nothing, just observing light, and very lightly, effortlessly. So think of this source of transcendental energy in form of light. That light is entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you're becoming one with it. We'll start with music that helps concentration, then music fades away and we go deep into silent meditation on transcendental light, and then we'll transition out with music again. Let's start. A happy Saturday, everyone. Glad that we are here in Satsang. It's your time now. Feel free to come on the video or unmute and talk. Unfortunately, we can't unmute everybody, and it's so the system has its limitations. But anytime you share anything or ask a question, you are actually helping others who didn't speak up. So, or, I think this time is to absorb the energy and just continue the meditation, but in slightly different way. I call the initial part the transition in, and the later part the transition out. It's both are extremely important. So meditation, the you want deeper meditation, your transition in and transition out should be tweaked enough to be effective. Um, I haven't spoken about this incident for a while, so I'll probably start with that. It's, I did, and Omkar was with me, I think. We took a conference room in the library in Lansdowne, near Ashburn here in Virginia. And, so because the time that we wanted to choose wasn't like there wasn't enough buffer, so there was uh, the satsang session, and right after that, somebody else had booked it. And that person turned out to be very, not so happy to be waiting. So he knocked on the door while we were deep in meditation. And I still remember it was like a shock to the system. Because I think we were talking and it got delayed. And by the time we started, it was like, and so you don't want to shock your system, uh, especially post meditation. You want to transition out slowly and continue to absorb that energy. Stay, ideally, if we could, and we were talking about like we don't have enough time. So, I mean, if we could stay in this quote unquote calm state for much longer, but that time doesn't allow. But I think we should try not to hurry out too quickly. I think that doesn't, it's not a good thing. Anyway, so I'll pause here. I've been speaking since morning, so I think I need a rest.
Good morning, it's Karen.
Hi, Karen. How are you?
I'm on a journey. I wanted to ask you, a few weeks ago, I read in one of your newsletters, it was about detachment. Mm-hmm. And I don't quite understand. It was something, you don't detach from the person, you detach from what happened. I don't understand.
Yeah, for a long time, I didn't talk too much about this topic just because it's, one, it's deep, and two, there are too many connotations. When you use certain words in English, it connotes something. And I think that there are two principles that my grandfather had, which are very related. And I'll give you an example to show how he differentiated, the perspective that you were talking about. So think of, and again, and I think ask me again if this doesn't answer anything that you were asking. So hopefully it will. So think of a hotel, right? And the hotel is managed by a manager and owned by an owner. So what happens is that if so manager is responsible for managing it well. If he doesn't, then he gets in trouble, or he's not doing his duty. But if some unforeseen thing happens, a loss happens, the manager would still potentially go back and sleep, while the owner will have to take care of the issue, and the headache is on the owner. So Guru Maharaj's view was that we become the owners of a relationship, we become the owners of these possessions, etc. And because of that, we get so attached that we forget that we came with nothing and will go with nothing. And we are managers, not owners. So we manage this and we manage this, and you manage as well as you need to, because otherwise you will not be doing the duty of a manager. So a lot of people say, oh, if I'm not owning this, why would I care? No, no, no. You are a manager. Manager actually does more work than the owner most of the time, because manager is appointed to do that duty, and if he doesn't, he's out there. So um so basically, you know in the bigger scheme of things, everything is temporary in this world. So you are so another a very associated example is when you go into the hotel and you check in, you go to a very nice room, let's say, and you don't own anything, but you enjoy it. For that period of time, it's yours. But you can't take everything that's there with you. So you are basically a guest in this world. You really don't own it, like literally anything. And this temporary ownership, if we convert into we are caretakers, we are managers, we are just doing our duty, the once the ownership converts into caretaker, a lot of the things that were the baggage that comes with the attachment goes away.
Um, can you now that was really great. Can you now apply it to human relationships?
Yeah, very easily. So
When you lose someone,
right.
when someone has passed on, I
Yeah. So actually, I don't know why I said easily. That wasn't I meant. What I meant was that, yeah, this applies, and you can. Um, so I don't know why, but I will talk about, because I was remembering my mother who passed away in, I think, 2015. Um, you know, um, a very, very, very strong bond, and interestingly, whenever I would, so I was living in US, she was in India, and every time I would go, all day long, she would just ask like, what would I like to eat? That was the thing. And when I went in 2015, I was sitting in her room all day, and I was literally listening to her, what would you like to eat? Um, and and for some reason, and I again, pardon me, you have asked me, I'm just being sincere and candid, that uh, I actually started to feel that my father and my mother's passing was really for others, in the sense that for me, I literally felt there with me. And not just that, so just to make it more relatable or something, it's like I felt that their blood runs in my body. So I am even physically, in so many ways, um, still with them, in the sense they're, it's, I'm not disconnected. Um, so now the question, I think, is so on one hand, I feel the bond, I feel the connection, I feel the presence and everything. But then the detachment and attachment here is more about, you know lot of situations come when we start drowning in somebody's grief, or we start feeling that pain, and that empathy and that connection is so important. But the first principle of lifting somebody up from, if somebody else is drowning, you don't jump in without some thought about it, like you basically give them a rope. So you need to stay on a higher ground. And so that was more about in that context. So in terms of grief, I always feel that uh, the part that you shared is still there, and you can still feel the presence. You can still um, you know be with them, and you know that uh, others may feel one way, but you can deal with it another way.
Okay, thank you.
But see, the thing is that on uh, you know and Christy, maybe you can talk about this too, but what I wanted to say was that uh, attachment is more physical to a body, but connection could be more abstract and to the soul. So um, if we connect at a higher level, we could still be connected.
Hi, namaste everyone. Hi,
Hello.
Sanjiv Ji. Hi. Um, you may not know that I lost my mother. I know I'm not sure the name of the lady that was just speaking.
Karen.
So Karen, hi. Sorry for your loss. I lost my mother, who I was extremely close to. We had a very, very strong bond, and I was an absolute mess afterwards. It took me a very long time to gather myself together. And then I found Satsang. It's been a year now, and Sanjiv Ji taught me about that connection and how just because the physical isn't here, that connection and bond can't ever go. That's eternal. And wherever you see light, that person is in the light, and you've got the comfort, you've got them around you. And when you feel like that connection might be gone, just look to the light and breathe in the light, see yourself surrounded by the light. And it really is comforting. So it takes practice, it's not easy. But the more that you do this, the more that you will find that you will get comfort. And just keep strong. You have to look after yourself as well. Self-care is so important. And I think your loved one would really want you to be looking after yourself and finding comfort anywhere that you can. And once you get past that rawness and you do find comfort in the light, start to build a life for yourself again and do that in honor of them. And that's what I've been doing. And Sanjiv, I think you can hopefully vouch for me and say that I've been doing as much as I possibly can to help others, and it's so fulfilling. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, we I mean, we are a community and we want to be there for each other, right? That's the whole part. There was a discussion going on with some of our other satsangis, and they were saying that, Guru Maharaj created this family style bond so that we can, be there for each other. And
Yeah, coming here every week has really helped. And even though not everyone speaks, you can still feel the connection, especially when we're meditating in the silence. It's like an energy. And the more you come, the more you feel that. And you can speak openly here, and I feel like no one judges. So I do recommend, if anyone has anything that they're going through, just to share with us, because we are like a little community. And there's regulars here every single week, and you're not alone. And also, Sanjiv, I have to talk about what you were saying in the beginning. You know my problem with sleep. I lost my godmother a couple of weeks ago, and my sleep again went completely out of sync. But I took your advice after Satsang on Tuesday, and I have been doing the light meditation, breathing in the light, doing some breath work as well, and I just drifted off. So I feel so much better. I feel so much better. Thank you.
yeah.
Oh, I muted myself. Did you hear any of that?
Yes, we did.
Oh, that's good. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you.
I see, in some ways, I want to say that everyone should, speak, and everyone should put the video on, at least those who can, who are in not, in, but at the same time, it's just that we are here is enough, right? But on the flip side, to make the other point, if this was in person, which it was all the years through the millennia, you can't switch the video off if you are in person. So, but I I think it is just that we are here is enough, is absolutely enough. We are there for each other. That's the most important piece.
Yeah, hi, Sanjiv. That's Dale. I was gonna say yes, it would be nice in person and to see everyone's faces, but at the same rate, I know you're on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, so if it wasn't for this, then I wouldn't be able to join. So I appreciate it for what it is. So this is a super powerful session for me today because I think a lot of points hit home for me, a lot to unpack. But I think one of the sleep is a whole thing, but I won't touch on that one. But this on attachment and this idea around um, I'm not even sure how to put this, but like one quick example is like I coach a lot of youth sports, and I always tell them to focus on the inputs. You focus on the work and the practice, and the results are what they are. So don't get too attached with the things that are not in your control. At the same time, if we don't do well or something, then I will think about what we could have done better, right? It's kind of a learning experience. And this idea around separating outcomes is good for me, but like, how do you separate out learnings from detachment? How do you move on from what that is? And so I don't really feel like I have a good handle on that in life. I tend to overthink things well past the time of which they happened. And so I don't know if that's related at all to the point you were trying to make, but
No, no,
attachment's a very deep topic, as you mentioned. So,
it is. It is. So even what Karen was suggesting, one example which is documented by Guru Maharaj, I think I'll touch upon and lightly, but see, I think it is in, for example, and Dayal, I'll come to you next. I am still processing the relationships
mm,
and how detachment works there. Very, very complex subject. So I think when we are grieving, um, I think it's more about the connection than detachment. Absolutely. Um, Feeling somebody's presence, feeling the connection, feeling, praying for them. So that empathy and not just connection actually is better. And your attention towards, uh, you know, um, praying for them, and just feeling, sending positive energy and being positive about it. I think that's what comes to my mind. But then what happens is that when somebody, let's say, is not well or is so, one of the instances Guru Maharaj talks about, my grandmother Giamma became very ill, very, very ill. And so at some point, Guru Maharaj lost hope and he wrote to his guru that, she is very ill and please come and visit and see her, because she was also very attached to him. Um, uh, or there was a spiritual bond there, very, very strong. So, Dada Guru Maharaj, his Guru Maharaj's guru, wrote back that, I'm myself not well and I won't be able to come. And but then he wrote a few lines about how you should stop thinking about, uh, you know, what will happen. You continue to do your work, which was your duty to take care of her, should be prime and center and not the emotions around it. And that's what he did. And she got well and she lived long after him, actually. Um, you know, so there, he was saying that he learned that duty versus emotions. I think attachment may be a different. That's why I'm saying the connotation in English sometimes just doesn't communicate some of the stuff that he's writing. Here he's talking about the emotional overcharge that we bring in versus, having the connection and still knowing that the entire world, including all of the people we're connected to, including ourselves, are temporary. And we will not, however, we think about it, it's like we will have these. So if we connect at a higher level, that connection will be a lot more durable. So, and then kind of mixing what you need to do for someone versus the emotions that come with the relationship. Emotions sometimes drive us elsewhere where our duty would have been X and we do Y because of the emotional baggage. That is so if I take the connotation out, I think that's where the attachment is, driving the emotions and then driving us elsewhere rather than feeling, here is my duty, I'm doing my duty, and that's where my focus ought to be. So, Dayal, if you coming to you again, basically the outcomes you need to be, especially things that are outside of your control, it's better to be as far from it as possible because things are not in your control. You can just keep running in your head or you can, but from a learning perspective, there is, so detachment doesn't mean that we don't learn from actually meditation, reflection, contemplation actually makes you think more deeply about where you are going wrong and where your thought processes and emotions are covering, and a lot of times, so even when we are trying to do the lessons learned, there are people involved, there are emotions involved, there are other dynamics, human dynamics involved. So the question so here the detachment is more like an observer state. Can you be a neutral observer? If we all could be, we would do lessons learned in 5 minutes. It won't be a long drawn process. But because there is so much, on the surface itself, especially in sports. So what happens is that the lessons learned get muddled with all he did this happened, no, my view is this, rather than a collective view or digesting thing objectively. We talk about objective things in a very subjective way. So I'll pause there.
Great. Yeah, thank you for that.
I think I like the observer word better than detachment. I'll tell you that. observer. So uh, I wanted to be very brief today. It's already 11:20 here. Um, observer, newspapers are a dying breed now, but most of the newspapers were like, I don't know, LA Observer, or they were like uh, a, a reporter, observer, basically was the idea that somebody is reporting neutrally. They're giving the facts and giving you a view into where you are not there, right? It's like we have brain and the mechanics around it, which can give you a very neutral view and then process it to do what you need to do in terms of lessons learned, etc. But unfortunately, there are other pieces of the puzzle which muddle it, and muddle it so bad that if you take 10 people, there are 10 different outcomes of same observation. Same situation, even brothers, act differently, or I'm just saying brothers, sisters, and that's very common. And then people wonder, oh, they have the same background and blah, blah, blah. No, the human learning and the human capabilities that we have individually evolve. And they're what happened, how did they initially react to things, or what they learned about XYZ, the two people living very close to each other could have a completely different perception, different reaction, different way of processing it. Wow. Oh, I think we went way too deep today, which is not bad. It's just, I think.
Yes, apologies for taking us down the rabbit hole.
No, I am so grateful that, you actually spoke up, and you see, bottom line is we all are here for you, and hopefully meditation will give us enough ability to contemplate and reflect and feel the presence. I think that's what matters.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. All right, on that note, I think I'm actually still enjoying it. And not that I want to wrap up, but yeah, I think but we'll look forward to see you all soon. So namaskar and take care, and bye now.
Bye.
Namaskar ji.
Namaskar. Namaskar, Sujata ji, Mahima ji. Bye, Paula and Jeff.
Pranam bhaiya.
Namaste bhaiya. Bye everyone.
Namaste bhaiya.
Namaskar, Arvind ji.
I've been doing very good under my meditations, Sanjiv.
Yeah.
It was making me feel like a relaxing observation around the meditation.
I really appreciate it, Jeff. So good that you're here.
Me too.
Totally.
It's my very wonderful thing. Yesterday I was so uptight on the Friday when I can't remember everything that I saw play that I